Hey y'all, welcome to Facing the 50s. My name's Deanne. Today I wanted to show you a quick get ready with me on how to do your entire face with just two brushes. And I say entire face, I don't mean your eyes, but your face with these two brushes. The reason I wanted to do this is because typically when I do my longer instructional videos, I'll use most, if not all, of the brushes from our line. And I know that can be overwhelming, especially if you're new to mascara. So what I wanted to do, I narrowed it down to, okay, which ones are the two? If I could only have two brushes, which two would I pick to be able to do my face? And these two are the ones I came up with. They're the ones I tend to recommend the most just because they're that versatile. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the video. Secondly, instead of using my triple decker where I've got all my different colors and everything, I thought that could be a little overwhelming too. I'm going to get ready completely out of this HAC stack. So it's pretty much what I would recommend, to anybody getting started. As you get your color match, it'll have what colors I think are good for you in here. So I'm going to do everything out of this HAC stack today. So if you're interested to see how I got this look with two brushes and just the HAC stack, keep watching. So let me get my hair pulled back out of the way. As a reminder, we're going to use two brushes, the B squared, the blush and bronzer brush, and I'm going to use the detailed HAC brush. I'm going to use both ends of that. Then my HAC stack. So this will hold 8 different colors. It has 2 different rows. I've got a color corrector, a main highlight, a brightener, and a contour. And then on the bottom, I have a lip and cheek, an illuminator, a bronzer, and a setting powder. And these 3, they're optional, so it's something that you can, add in there or not. I also try to put them in order of the way that I use them, because that may tend to help. So first, I'm going to go in with my color corrector all over the redness that I have on my face. I'm going to use the blush end of the B squared brush, and I'm going to put a really thin layer of that all over. And I would have explained this to you in your color match form of exactly where I thought that you needed to do your color correcting. So for me, since the redness was really kind of all over and diffused, I want to get a nice thin layer all over my face. The color I'm using is Mango, so your color may be different based on the colors that you need to correct. Then I'm going to take the small end of the detailed HAC brush and I'm going to go into the smaller areas. So I had more redness on my chin, so I'm going to put a little bit more there. I'm going to use this anywhere that I needed to kind of pinpoint a little bit better. And then definitely for color correcting under my eyes, I want to use the smaller end of this detailed HAC brush. It gets right in there just perfectly and puts that cream down nicely. I kind of blend it as I go. But I want to make sure and keep this layer pretty thin. But I definitely want to layer because I've got some darkness under my eyes and some dark circles. I also like to put some around my nose because I tend to get a little redness there, and my nose is definitely red because of my rosacea. So I definitely put color corrector there. And then a lot of times I'll get a little redness right there in between my eyebrows. So I'll go ahead and put a little color corrector there. Then the Magic, the Perfector sponge. So I believe in using this between every single layer because we want to make sure and keep as little product on the face as possible, and this helps get rid of excess. So love the Perfector sponge. And of course you will go into your bathroom or to your kitchen, to the sink, and wet it and squeeze it out and squeeze it out and squeeze it out so that it's almost dry. It's just barely damp when you're using it because you don't want it to take off everything that you put on, but you do want it to get the excess. Alright, so I've still got some redness in my cheeks. I'm actually going to take the flat end of that detail HAC brush and put a little more color corrector right there where I need it. It is pretty dense, so it can lay down a little more color than the B squared brush. So I've got that applied. I want to go in and use my Perfector on it. Alright, now I'm going to take that same B-squared brush that I used for my color corrector, and I'm going to put on my main highlight. And for me, it's Candlelit. But like I said, for you, it'll just depend on the coloring in your skin. Now notice, I'm using the blush end of this, and I'm stippling it on my face. I'm not swirling it or buffing it, because I don't want to disturb all of that color corrector that I have on underneath it. What this does here, by putting the main highlight on top, is it will tone down the warmth of the mango and have it match better. So you can kind of see the side where I've put it on, it's not quite as warm. Now if I went straight in with Candlelit and didn't put mango under it, my redness would show throughout the day. So that's why, we will match you to an extra color corrector if you have some redness or hyperpigmentation. And we do that so that you can get that fuller coverage and so it can last all day for you. So again, I'm just stippling it on, being careful not to disturb the mango that's underneath it. But you can see my face does not look orangey or anything. That's one thing people tend to freak out a little bit when you see mango, because it is pretty orange. But I'm fair, and you can tell I can wear it. So definitely going in with that perfector sponge. Anywhere you layer it, we definitely want to make sure that we pounce that perfector sponge over it. I'm one that thinks that you probably can't perfect too much or can't use the sponge too much. It really pushes the cream into your skin. I think this is what really helps it look like skin and not makeup sitting on your skin. All right, now I'm going to take the flat end of my Detail Hack brush, and I'm just using one of our microfiber washcloths and wiping it off, and I'm going to get my contour. So I kind of tilt it on the end there, and I get some on about half the brush. My color's Astoria. I start at the very back, right underneath my cheekbone, and just put a little bit there, and then I flip it to where there's nothing on the brush and use the clean side of it to blend it. Because you don't want your contour like super wide. You just want it to look like a little shadow there under your cheeks. Alright, same thing on this side. I start all the way back. Kind of hard to hold the brush sometimes when you're working backwards in the camera. But the same thing. I will put a little on and then blend it out with the clean part that's on top. So you can kind of see that's starting to chisel out a little cheekbone for me. And then I like to contour my forehead. So I'll go right up there and put some on. And I know contour looks so scary to start with, but I promise after a little bit it just becomes natural. Alright, so then I'm going to contour my jawline to help create a little definition there. And I like to go ahead and bring it all the way down my neck, because I know I'm pretty fair and my neck is quite a bit lighter than my face. So I like to go ahead and start blending that down to make everything flow together and blend together, because I don't want my face a different color than my neck. That's a sure tell sign. Alright, then I'm going to take my perfector sponge and go over the contour. Now, our contours are drier, so they won't necessarily, be probably tacky or sticky, but I still want to make sure that I just blend it in with everything else that I have on. So a quick little perfecting there. Now, I'm going to take the small end of the Detailed Hack brush. I'm going to wipe it off because I had used some corrector on it. And now I'm going to go in with my Brightening highlight. And I'm going to use this under my eyes and kind of on the high points of my face. And mine is White Peach. So I'm going to go in with a super light hand and just put a little to brighten underneath my eye. So just buffing on just a little bit, and remember we've got mango on under that to color correct, so I want some brightness there, and you can see the difference in the two eyes where this one just looks a little nicer and brighter. Now the key to this, especially if you have mature skin, is working in thin layers. Don't go in and swipe that brush into the cream really heavy and put a lot on there, because we do want to keep as little product as possible, especially under the eyes. But a little brightness is nice. I also brighten right there in between those eyebrows. Kind of like to create some lightness down the center of my face. I'll put a little over the arch of my eyebrows as well. Get a little bit more and I'll contour right down the center of my nose. Just helps make all of that blend together. And then also a little on my chin. So you can see the brightening, I really focused on that center part of my face. So you knew it was coming. Here's that perfector sponge. And definitely you want to make sure that you're using that perfector sponge underneath your eyes. We don't want any excess product under there at all. That's when you get it settling into lines and wrinkles and creases and all of that. All right. So next I am going to go to the bottom part of my hack stack with my lip and cheek. So grabbing that blush and bronzer brush, I'm going to wipe it off on my microfiber towel. And I'm going to dip it into my lip and cheek. This one is Cindy. It is one of my absolute favorites. So I will put that on. Our lip and cheeks, they will go on a little bit strong. So if you leave it on a few minutes, it'll fade out just a hair. So don't worry about that. Plus, when you perfect it, that helps it blend in as well. All right, so then I have just a little bit of an illuminator, and like I said, this is optional, but I think especially if you have dry skin, it's nice to just put on the top of those cheekbones to help reflect light. It's so pretty. It's not glittery or shimmery, so don't be afraid of that. And then I've got bronzer, another optional step, but if you are a bronzer girl, and then I decided, wait a minute, if I want to use powder, I better do that before I go into the cream with this side of the brush. So I do go ahead and maybe set places where I need to set with a little of the vanilla dust powder and then go into the bronzer. So I'll put just a little on that fluffy end of the B-squared brush and then just lightly dust it where the sun would hit. I do go ahead and do right down on my neck and my décolleté so that everything just blends together. And okay, I mean, that's it. So that is the entire face. Well, okay, lips. So let me, now I usually will actually grab this multitasker brush to do it, but I promised I would only use 2 brushes, so I'm going to do something a little different. So I'm going to take the small end of that detailed HAC brush, and I'm going to dip it into just a little bit of the contour, and I'm going to line my lips with it. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest. I would not recommend doing this, especially if you're a beginner, and I wouldn't do it daily anyway because I have the other brush. So the only reason I'm doing this is because I did promise 2 brushes. I mean, it can be done, but you just have to, kind of tweak it or play with it because it's not the easiest. And then I can use my finger for my lip color. So there you go. Now, that's it. 2 brushes, full face. All right, so I hope that was helpful. The main thing I wanted to do today was let you know that, if you don't have the full line of brushes, it's okay. You can absolutely do everything that you need with these 2. Now, I've got the full line, and I'm going to continue to use it because I do have my favorites for certain things. But again, you can certainly, start out with these 2 and then add to it as you want. So those 2 brushes really are workhorses for me. And the same thing with, like the highlights and contours and lip and cheek and all that. You don't have to have every one. You don't need every one. But you can get a complete look out of what I match you to. And what I match you to will fit in this hack stack here. So speaking of match, if you would like a color match, my form will be linked below. So just click it, fill out a few questions, send me a picture, and I will tell you which colors that I think would work best for you. With that being said, that's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them down below, and I will see you in the next video.